afternoon, everybody. Again, we meet on YouTube. What is this interesting subject matter, which I said all of you should know? It deals with consciousness and how the consciousness operates and functions. Well, you may say, I already know how to do this. I wake up every morning, my consciousness I'm aware of. I'm inside my body. I know how my consciousness operates and functions. I beg to differ. You do not know. Let's listen to me for a few minutes and you'll understand what I'm saying. There is a deeper part of yourself. In the deeper recesses of your consciousness, there's a part that you don't know. You wake up every morning, you get dressed. If you have children, you dress them. You send them off to school on the bus or you take them. And they go, you give them lunch. If they need some reading, tutoring, you tutor them. They come back and eventually they grow up, and if you're fortunate enough and they don't become gangbangers, they graduate from high school. And if they go to college and graduate, you're a happy parent. You feel that you fulfill most of your duty. You get married, buy your house, get you a nice car, maybe a dog or some kind of pet, and you continue to enjoy yourself and celebrate the different holidays that we celebrate in America. And you grow old and you start wondering if there's a God. You've gone to church when you were early Christian. Most people that I'm talking to in the audience are probably Christian. And you can identify with this lifestyle that I'm talking about. As you grow old and you start wondering about the mysteries of the universe, is there a God or not? And you don't know because you only live your entire life in two states of consciousness. What do I mean when I say two states of consciousness? You live your life in the dream world and in the wakeful state in which I'm talking to you now. You don't know that higher states and lower states of consciousness or of awareness exist. If they do exist, then how do you go to those levels? You have to understand the nature of attention. As I said before, attention is a very powerful instrument. It's as powerful, only second to the power of God. How can you feel that this puny human body, this frail human body in which you occupy, has such power? Look at some of the other YouTube discussion and you can get into greater detail. I don't want to go into all those details now. I just want to focus in on something that you thought you knew about, which was the function of consciousness. Consciousness has several ways in which it can operate, but primarily through attention. What is consciousness? Let's define that. Consciousness is the capacity to be aware. You said that's obvious, I'm aware of you. Well, get deeper, sir. I am going to get deeper. I hear you. Consciousness not only has the capacity to be aware, it can be aware of so many things. God is total consciousness. That's the definition of God. You probably never heard that definition. God is total consciousness because he's the only consciousness that exists. There's no other consciousness. I know you heard that God is the only power that exists. He's everywhere present. He's all powerful and he's all knowing. Then where do we come from? We are nothing but a miniaturized version of that being. He has actually taken his consciousness and placed it inside every living form that exists. He's aware of this illusion that he's created. He's done it for a certain reason, which I'll go into at some later talk, at some later time on YouTube. With that being said, consciousness has the capacity to be aware. But what is awareness? Awareness is nothing but a small slice of consciousness. What do we mean when we say awareness? Awareness is what you're listening to today. It's present consciousness. It's contemporary consciousness. Awareness can be shut off, which I said earlier. Awareness can be shut off, which you do every night when you go to sleep. You shut down awareness and you go into a lower state of consciousness, which is the dream world. You feel this is the only two type of consciousness that you experience, which is true. You don't know how to experience the other forms. You have a switch inside this body, which is attention. We keep coming back to attention because attention is a very fascinating feature within consciousness. It has the capacity to be mobile. It is the mobility principle which operates within consciousness. It can move. It can travel. What do I mean when I say it can move, it can travel? You can be in your house and somebody can ring the bell. The child can be running through the room and you can say, man, won't you be quiet, little boy? Go sit down, referring to your child. And your attention slips off of me and gets on the child. And you miss out on 2 or 3 minutes of what I said. So attention moved from me and you two to the child. It fluctuated. It shut down awareness of immediate consciousness of what I'm talking about and put the attention on the child. That's what I mean by mobility and unawareness and cutting off and cutting on consciousness. So I won't make this a long, drawn out discussion, but consciousness, we need to know about the multiple expression, the multiple tentacles of consciousness. Consciousness is one, just like the Lord is one. It mimics the Lord, but it has one multiple expression, like the Lord has multiple expression. Consciousness can probe, it can investigate. It's an investigative tool, just like a detective trying to solve a mystery in life or deal with a criminal and solve a problem. The detective looks for evidence. So consciousness can probe, it can investigate, it can concentrate on evidence. It can verify if the evidence is real. That's the only thing that we really can verify. If somebody tells you something, you don't know if it's true or not. If you investigate and get evidence, verifiable evidence, corroborative evidence, then you can accept that being true until you can get an experience of it. So consciousness can not only be an investigative tool, a probing instrument, it can be a discovery device, it can be a magnificational instrument, it can intensify things, it can focus upon things, it can give you a closer look of what's taking place in reality about anything. When you investigate something, you want to get a closer look. And you want to verify that what you're seeing is correct, is real. You just don't rely on intellectual knowledge or something you read about. You want to be able to verify and corroborate without any doubt that what is taking place is real. So in saying all of that, consciousness also got other features. Even though it's one, it can split itself. It's only one, but it can look like it's splitting itself. It has the capacity to scan, take a broader look at things, but it's still at one level of consciousness. You can scan everything you want to know about this world. You can scan the universe, look at the skies and the stars, but you've not shifted your level of consciousness except for when you go to sleep and go into a dream world. But let's talk about the wakeful state, because that's the state that you feel is more real than the dream world. So as you look at the scanning aspect of consciousness, let's look at a more important aspect of consciousness. perhaps one of the most important aspects. Consciousness has the capacity to cut off and cut on awareness. It has a switch built inside of itself where it can shut off and shut on awareness. You just have to learn how to do it. If you can meet a person and be fortunate, like I've been, but I had to travel around the world several times to meet this person. I went through Canada. I went through the Netherlands. I went through different parts in Europe, England, France, Germany. I went through Asia and ended up in Hong Kong, Japan, and in India, which I was fascinated with that country because that's where most of the religion started from. We have in fact imported all of the religion, the major religion, to America. You can investigate that. We are importers. We're not original understanders of the spiritual path or of the religion. We confuse. We think by going to graduate school, getting advanced degrees, becoming scholars, becoming ministers, bishops, rabbis, imams. We think we understand. We don't. We have an illusionary understanding, just like a graduate student who graduated from the best colleges or university in the world, thinking that they understand cardiology. And if you had to examine one cardiologist who graduated and another one who graduated, one who graduated from a lesser college or university and graduated with C's, and the other one graduated at the top of his class with A pluses, you would not know the difference if you talked to them. But if you became aware that your mother was suffering from a heart disease and you talked to them and you asked the right question, you would ask one of the professors who's considered the best because he's the valedictorian of his class. He'll give you all the right answers, except you got to know which question to ask. And if you ask this question, have you ever operated successfully on any human being? He'll say no. You may say, okay, sir, I got something else to do. I'll get back with you. You'll leave. Then you go ask the other professor who went to a lower level school and graduated with C's. But he had successful cardiological experience in terms of operating on patients to the tune of almost 90% success. You would immediately discount the first one that you talked to with all of this intellectual knowledge, and you'll immediately run to the next one, who was a low-level student, but successful operator in surgery. So with all that being said, you have to meet someone who has practical, he's a practitioner in the use of concentration of human attention. I got fortunate, I won a lottery ticket. I tell everybody that I come in contact with, I won a spiritual lottery ticket, not a monetary one, but it acts like a monetary one. A person who wins a lottery, put $1 down and may win or lose, but when the lottery increases, it becomes multi-millions of dollars. And we've had people in America that have won, but it's normally one or two people. It's very difficult to know when you're going to win. I didn't know if I was going to win, but I did win unexpectedly by meeting this great, highly advanced person who befriended me and showed me how to concentrate attention. And I'm eternally grateful to him, because in concentration of attention lies everything. I was able to take the attention, which is behind, somewhere in the head, and if you can learn how to concentrate it upon itself and singularize it, like Christ says in Matthew 6 chapter 22 verse, if thy eye become singled, our whole body shall be full of light. What do they mean by light? I'll talk about light in another time, but light contains all knowledge, at least knowledge of the level in which you are operating from. So if you can go inside this body just by withdrawing attention from the lower parts of the body, from the toes all the way up through the torso through the chest and go behind these eyes, you will actually experience dying. But it'll be a painless death. It won't be a death like normal people experience, which is accidental death. Most people don't want to die, but if they experience accidental death, gunshot wound, stroke, automobile accident, heart attack, those deaths are mostly painful, excruciating pain. They don't know they're going to die, but when they die, they discover they can fly and go into the heavens or the hills, depending on how they live their lives. So that is basically the end of what I want to say, but let me conclude by saying consciousness got all of these multiple operation and functioning. And the best one that you need to unravel is the unraveling of the power of concentration of attention through this built-in switch that is built within consciousness. And there's certain things you gotta do too. You can go into detail on YouTube. Of course, you gotta eat right. You gotta live your life right. You gotta know what food to eat. I mean, how can food play a role? Look at my other YouTube discussion. You'll understand that. So in saying all of that, let me end this discussion by saying I would like for you to conclude your I'd like to conclude this discussion by you emailing us at our website and make comments and encourage your friends, relatives, and associates to also make comments, because we have recently set up this YouTube site, and strangely enough it's growing gradually every day. People are responding, and most of their responses, I would say, based on our research department, even though a few people are responding, it's growing. And other responses, over 88% have said they enjoy YouTube. And now, the people in YouTube land, please write me and let me know how you like this talk. Express your comments. If you have a question, email us. Our website is I, as in the alphabet I, dash seek, SEEK, .org. Let me repeat. I seek, SEEK, .org. At this time, I end this discussion. Goodbye, everybody. Best wishes and good luck. Thank you.